We actually had predicted. We were like, hey man, do they hug it out after? No. Colby Covington, he grabs his jock and he says, yeah, I'm gonna blow kisses, stick my tongue out, and you can suck one. Um, Brother, this was just rough. I don't like how this rivalry ended. I don't like that Colby Covington was talking crazy on Masvidal's kids and his wife and all that. But was this to be like? Could you be surprised by this? I don't know anybody who was surprised by this aside from emotional bettors and people who just can't stand Colby Covington. So they're like, he's gonna lose because he's annoying. And I'm like, that's not a good enough reason why he's gonna lose, brother. He does this to everybody, and this is what he did to everybody in his career except for Usman and Damian Maia. I said it in the pre-show. He did it. Let's look at the numbers, brother, because we need to make a point here. I think that people. One lesson that you need to learn from this, and I hope that you take away from this, because I've done this before in the past too. You cannot bet off of emotion. You cannot pick a victor off of emotion. You cannot look at a matchup and say, all right, one dude's skill set is superior, but he's annoying, so he loses. That's not how it works. So when we look at the takedown attempts, Colby Covington notched 6 takedown attempts on Jorge Masvidal, on 6 landed takedowns on 15 attempts right there, man. So it was a 40% takedown rate at that clip. But at the end of the day, my man, Masvidal, it's just like round 1, yeah, it's going to be tough to get that takedown. Round 2, it's going to be a little tough. Round 3, oh, look at how easy it's coming. Round 4, oh man, there's no resistance. Round 5, come on, bro, what are we talking about? Masvidal was looking tired around rounds 2 or 3, but he did clip Colby in round 3 or something like that, where he got that beautiful, I think it was like a left hook on the chin, dropped him for a split second. But what do wrestlers always resort to when they're hurt? Instinctually, you find a leg. Yeah, you sniffing a crotch, whatever the case may be, but you won the fight and you got 50K on top of it, brother. So talk to me through this, my man. Where do we go with Jorge Masvidal here? We already know Colby Covington is in this weird limbo. You can't beat Usman, and nobody else can beat you. But for Jorge, I mean, brother, like he was rated number 6, right? He had that number 6 ranking. But when we look at his record, let's just look at in the last 10 or whatever. 3 losses in a row: 2 to Usman, 1 to Colby. He loses. He wins against Nate Diaz. He wins against Askren. He wins against Darren Till. Loses to Wonderboy. Loses to Maia. I mean, the last time that he put together a big streak besides the Diaz and the Askren fight was back in 2017. So at this point, where do we go?
Well, first off, Derek, I gotta say, it sounds like you're arguing a little or chopping it up with those stubborn Portlandians out there, man, that only make those decisions off of emotion. Like, I hate this fighter, so he's gonna lose, man. I remember those debates very, very well, brother. And I'm with you. You can't be doing that. You got to look at it X's and O's. And I'm glad on this channel we both did that. And this was one of those fights where I saw what I was watching. I knew what was going to happen, but I really was still pulling for Masvidal. I wanted the L on this one, but I knew what was going to happen. It's how it goes down. Covington solidifies himself as the second best fighter in the division. Now, where do we go with Masvidal? I think there's 2 clear routes, because does he still have that lore and that allure of one of the baddest men in the world? He still is the BMF technically, so I think you still have that play to go. Is Colby one of the baddest motherfuckers in the game? Yes, but will he get that acclaim? No, not really. It's just not in the cards for him, unfortunately. But I do think if you go Leon Edwards, that's a good fight. They have the 3-piece in the soda. It's an interesting one. There's a play there. There's a line there. I'm with you, Derek. I don't really want to see that fight. I think Leon pieces Masvidal up. Or you go Connor. You do the money fight. You do the red panty night. I think they're either way. Both of them are a stretch. But other than that, who do you want to see Masvidal fight?
Nobody, brother. That's the problem. He has no leverage. He just has no leverage. He's not the BMF anymore. No disrespect, man. We love the personality. We love what Jorge Masvidal stands for. That's what I love. I love that he's a street dude. You know what I'm saying? He came up fighting out there in the backyards, getting after it, man. Like, I love everything he stands for and everything he represents. But as a professional UFC fighter, he have no leverage. He's not the BMF. Usman is the BMF. Come on, brother. Let's be honest. You were beating the brakes off of Colby and off of Masvidal. You the BMF at that point, right? So I think that at this point, he needs to be relegated to fighting the number 15s of the world, the non-ranked of the world. Well, let's see him against Kevin Holland. Let's see what happens in that fight. You know what I mean? I think it is interesting because there is this limbo situation where Masvidal and McGregor are such big stars that they're able to get shots that don't make any sense simply because fans sit their asses down in seats to watch these dudes fight. So this is the key right here. Masvidal just signed a very lucrative new fight contract. Some say that is the most lucrative in UFC history, which is interesting because it didn't really make sense to me. However, it's all going to be popularity fights from here on out. It's not going to be strategical, let's fight for a title. No. It's going to be, what are the biggest banger fights? Let's see him against Nate Diaz again. You know what I mean? Let's see something well, let's get into that line. Let's get him against another really good striker, and let's see some wars happen. I think that's where we're headed with Jorge Masvidal, because clearly wrestling is just a little bit too much, brother. You know what I mean? It's just a little too much at the top of the division. At the number 1, number 2, number 3, it's just a little too much. However, do you see him? Let's look at let me pull up the rankings real fast, bro. So when I'm pulling up the rankings on here for the welterweights, let's see what we got. All right, brother. So welterweight. Okay, we got. Let's look. So could he? Oh damn! See, it's just so tough. They're also good wrestlers right here, man. Wonderboy Thompson. Could we run that one back? Sure. Neil Magny. I don't know if he wants that smoke with the wrestling there. Sean Brady. I don't know if you want that smoke with the wrestling. Kiesa. I mean, he won. We could run that one back. He beat Kiesa back in like 2013, man. We could run that back. Hamzat. Oh, come on. Let's skip that one. Jeff Neal. How about that? Let's see against a Jeff Neal. Let's see against a Ponzinibbio. Not a Rachmanov. Maybe the Leech. I don't know, brother. You see what I'm saying, though, where it's just tough because it's like, do you want smoke with any of these wrestlers? I'd imagine probably not, my man. So give me your last take on this one, my man. Obviously, Colby is the real deal. We knew this was going to happen. This is no surprise to us here on this program, but this is more it's not about like how good was Colby. No, it was just like, should this matchup, did it make sense aside from the grudge? No, not really. Well, give me a take.
Nah, I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see where Masvidal goes next with the fights, because I do think it's going to be those popularity fights. Yeah. And when you were pointing out all the top 15, isn't it crazy that most, if not all of them, besides like 2, are really grappling heavy, like wrestling dominant? It really is. You start at the bottom, you got a lot of strikers, you got a lot of people that can do things, barring Stephen Thompson. Everyone else there has a really good ground game, and Jeff Neal too. But it's crazy that you have to have that aspect of your game locked down and solid to be these top elite tier athletes, at least in the welterweight division, and even a couple other ones as well. But if you don't have that, who are you going to fight? Because they're just going to keep on getting rolled through, all of them.
Yeah, exactly, man. So one more time, I'm going to pull it up. Not the ideal way to end a rivalry, bro. For to grab your jock and to tell somebody like, bro, like you directing it out saying, what's up? Like to me, man code. It's like Masvidal said, he's like, if I see that fool on the street, I'm still gonna try to break his jaw. Like I don't care. Like he's like, he out wrestled me tonight, but this is a real beef. And I just think that for Colby Covington, as much of a dominant win, a mauling win as it was, there's a street code and there's a man code, man. And you're gonna always have to look over your shoulder. You know what I'm saying? When you walk around, unless you got security or whatever. Because give me your take on that. I know that you feel me what I'm saying is. So what do you think about that?
Oh, 100%, man. You do that to me anywhere. We fighting. That's just how it is. That's on site. After that, you disrespect. I feel like that should be the code. You disrespect anyone, it should be on site regardless. And don't go crying to the authorities or nothing, because you said what you said and you did what you did. It's how it is. And it's rough, because did Jorge Masvidal have the opportunity to do that to him? Yes. So it only gives Covington more reason to be like, yeah, we fight in the streets. Guess what? I'm going to take you down and I'm going to beat you up again, bro. So it's like, fuck, So I do think there's still street code to this, and I hope there's a little bit of street justice that gets put on, but who knows? I would also like to see them get paid to do it. It's a weird one. I don't think you grab your junk at people unless you're willing to scrap, bro.
Yeah, and what's crazy is even Dana White said, he was like, yeah, bro, there's man code, and clearly either you got it or you don't. And he was kind of throwing some shade at Colby, saying like, you don't do some of the stuff that he's doing, bro. But he's winning, and you can't take that away from him. So